Yes, but also no, but also yes, but also maybe. Hey everybody, it's the internet's favorite lawyer, and this user wants to know whether or not jurors at a trial can ask questions. So it depends on the jurisdiction, depends on the courtroom, and it depends on the judge. For example, some states don't allow this to happen at all, other states give it to the judge's discretion, and other states don't even have rules about it. Here in Georgia, the Court of Appeals has ruled that it is proper for a juror to have a question. But you can't just like raise your hand and be like, Your Honor, I have a question, or defense counsel, I have a question, or person that's giving, the testimony, I have a question. The way it works is when the jury is in the jury room, the jury can submit a question to the judge, and then the judge will make the decision based on his discretion as to whether or not he wants to even address or acknowledge the question. If the judge decides that he wants to acknowledge the question, then he can have a conversation with the opposing counsel and with the prosecution together and present them with the question. And then they can decide that so long as the question isn't prejudicial or it doesn't into areas of rule or law that you're not allowed to discuss or other information, they can then present that question towards whoever has that information. So if it's a question about testimony, the judge could ask the question of the person that's testifying. If it's a question about evidence or to see something again, then that information could be represented. If it's a question about like substantive things, if it's a question about like evidence or evidentiary information, then they can also submit that question. Like, well, we want more information on the glove, or can we see the glove? Then if the judge determines that that's appropriate, then they could present the glove to the jury room and the jury can examine it. But the reason why it's yes, but no, but also yes, but also maybe, is all of this is going to come down to whether or not the jurisdiction allows it, and then mostly judicial discretion of that judge. Some judges encourage jury questions, others don't. But for the most part, it's kind of a no. For the most part, it's up to each individual party to present their information and their case to the jury, and then the jury has to make a decision based on the information that was presented to them by each side. Because each side has things that they are saying in a certain way and that they aren't saying in a certain way in order to present their case in the most favorable light. So they are all leaving things out.